All right, I'd like to call to order the continuation meeting of the Haymarket Planning Commission. And do we need to do a roll call vote for this? All right, roll call vote, please.
Cottle,
Here.
Shannon,
Here.
James.
Here.
All right, ma'am, the applicant is here to field questions, correct?
Yes, I'd like to just give a quick update.
Sure.
So in your packet tonight, you have received an updated GDP with a note on it. I'm going to let the applicant explain that one. And then you've also received the proper statement. You have the red line version as well as the clean line version here in the packet. I would like tonight, since we do have a new commissioner with us, to invite the applicant to come up, give just a brief overview where we're at tonight and some of the issues that we have worked through to date. I did give Mr. James all the information prior, and we had some discussion regarding the project, so I feel confident that he's done his research and is going to make a very educated decision. So.
Sounds good. All right, if we could have the applicant.
Evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, and welcome to Mr. James Jones, I guess it is.
No,
Is it James?
it really
I
is
can't quite
James.
see. James.
Error on our part.
I thought it was James, right. Anyway, my name is Gifford Hampshire. I'm with the law firm of Blankenship and Keith, and I'm happy to be before you again. Just by way of recap, we were before the Planning Commission on May 21. That was our original meeting, and that was the date of the public hearing. The public hearing was closed. That was a joint public hearing with the town council. The public hearing was closed at the end of that evening, but the matter was continued until the June 6th. We had a work session on June 6th in which a number of issues were discussed. People and issues were addressed. And then we had another work session on the 18th of June. Interestingly, on June 6th, that was the same night that the Prince William School Board was meeting at the very same time to address the impact on schools. And so as a result, when we appeared on June 18, we had received the school's impact statement. And we can talk a little bit about that. Since the 18th of June, we also received something very significant, and that is we received a communique from VDOT that the traffic impact analysis had been accepted. On the 18th of June, we anticipated that there had been a meeting between the applicant and VDOT, but we subsequently received the communique that it had been accepted, and that should be in your package. And the reason VDOT accepted that, the TIA, was because of a meeting that had been held on June 6th with Grover Slade and VDOT, and a number of issues were addressed. Those issues were incorporated into the proffer statement that you had before you last time, and the proffer statement that you have before you this time, which has a revision date of July 11, is substantially the same as the one you had before you on June 18, with a couple exceptions. We can talk about those, but most notably, Mr. Chairman Caudle's suggestion, the word possible tot lot was removed with a commitment to tot lots instead of possible tot lots as part of the townhouse development. With respect, again, to the school impact, I would suggest to you that the school impact was largely favorable. It is true, as we stated last time, that Battlefield High School is at 143.3% capacity now, and would go to about 143.9% capacity. But as the chairman stated last time, that is a relatively small impact. But I think the bigger point I would suggest is that when you look at the school's impact statement, the disproportionate impact of the townhouse development is upon the elementary school. 24 students would go to the elementary school versus 14 to the high school. And happily, Haymarket High School is under capacity to 87% at this point in time.
Excuse me, so you mean Haymarket Elementary, right?
Pardon me?
Haymarket Elementary.
Haymarket Elementary.
Okay.
Right. would go to 97%, I think even in 2023, is what the impact statement would say, and 11 students would go to the middle school. Also important when you look at the school's impact statement is that there is a CIP solution for the high school problem in 5 years and a middle school solution in 10 years. Now, there is a debate about whether or not the 13th high school is going to resolve the Battlefield High School problem as opposed to the Stonewall High School problem or the Patriot High School problem. But as I've said before, that decision is hard to know, or that the answer to that question is hard to know precisely because we don't have boundary information for those years ahead. So we're doing the best we can with what the information we have, but I think overall I would say to you, in my opinion anyway, the school impact is favorable. The other thing to keep in mind, as I've said before in the last couple meetings, is that the schools, precisely because this development has been pending since 2014, the schools have taken this impact into account in its numbers already. That's the information that we received from them. So that 143% figure largely has been accounted for. Indeed, it was accounted for on a previous iteration of this development at 120 townhouses versus the 79. The other thing that it continues is a recommitment to phasing. The very first meeting, there was a concern, and maybe even to the second, about the phasing plan. And we have incorporated a phasing plan into 2 main phases. The overall theme being that we wanted to accommodate the legitimate concern that the developer might build all the townhouses and not do any of the frontage improvements, the brick sidewalk, the turn lanes, the raised median, et cetera, and the spine road that goes back to the back of the development. So that we have committed that given that we are incentivized to build those townhouses, all 79 of them, to make a profit, we are saying that before we complete that 79th townhome, that we are going to build those Washington Street improvements as they are defined in the proffer statement. The one thing that we will not do prior to the issuance of the 79th townhome permit is we will not do the signal, because as we have said in previous meetings, we have to have a critical mass for the signal justification report to VDOT to make sure that it will meet the warrants. But that is committed to in phase 2 of the development. There was a concern at the last meeting about the brick sidewalk and whether or not that was committed to. I urge you to look at the proper statement which defines the brick sidewalk running between Giuseppe's and Chick-fil-A east to west as part of the Washington Street improvements that would be completed before the 79th townhome is completed. Another big concern was walkability. As I just said, the brick sidewalk running east-west provides walkability. And also, if you look at the configuration of our development, we've tried very hard to ensure walkability north-south between Washington Street, or south-north, I should say, between Washington Street and the townhouse development. We think that this is a mixed-use development that honors the legislative decisions that the town council has made in allowing townhouses within commercial areas. Indeed, since 2017 by special permit, and also allowing accessory residential uses in the commercial area. And we've also committed, as the GDP makes clear, to the buffering next to Sherwood Forest that we've discussed before, and the other landscaping throughout the development. I'd like to close with a point that I think the very first point I made on the very first meeting on May 21, and that is to remind the Commission that what we are asking for here is a downzoning. A downzoning is defined as something that will reduce the density, will reduce the impact of the development over what is currently allowed. And of Mr. James' benefit, because he wasn't here on May 21, the use by right in the B2 district, as we've said a number of times, would allow a vehicle count of approximately 14,000 trips per day. with this, as the traffic impact analysis shows, with this reduction from commercial to residential to the townhouse, we're going to be reducing that impact by 6,278 vehicles, or a reduction of 43%. So I urge the commission to, and the public to keep in mind that it's not a choice here of this development or something lesser. It's really a choice of your current, what you have under your current zoning, which could be a very intensive commercial development, and something that is more in line with the town's vision of a mixed-use development that includes residential. And I think that's my summary of where we are now, and I and my team stand ready to answer any questions.
I've certainly been over this probably as many times as anyone, living in Sherwood Forest and talking to citizens and all. It's amazing how many I've talked to now that have kind of flip-flopped on their opinion of drive-throughs as an example. I still have one huge issue. I'm in support. I think you've done your due diligence. As you said, the traffic count, I mean, it could easily go up an additional 6,000 depending on what you did there. So I think you guys did your due diligence, and I think that helps us out here in the town. I'm still adamantly opposed to that one entrance off of Washington Street. I sat there Saturday and looked at traffic going into Chick-fil-A, and I just can't fathom more traffic at that one entrance there, Giff, the one, yes, sir, that one there. I didn't even notice the one before up top, and I'm not as concerned about that one. But that bottom one, unless it was a one-way, in or something, I can't see how that's not going to create much more havoc than what we have right now. People coming from CVS that want to go, out left, they go down to the same entrance because you can't go left from the first entrance there. That's something I just find that, I'm adamantly opposed to that entrance, I will tell you. Overall, your due diligence is, I think you've done extremely well. You certainly garnered support, not just from me as a member of this great little town and as a councilman and a liaison to the Planning Commission, but to a lot of citizens as well. This is kind of the talk of the town right here. Quite honestly, with the exception of a couple of individuals, I've heard nothing but positive compliments. We had an article that was written by a,
This one right here.
yeah, and I just want to read just one little part of this that I think is very important. This gentleman here is a resident, and he says, he's talking about Crossroads. This is all good because with growth comes new families, culture, talent, schools, churches, and more, all contributing to the vast richness of our area and of our little town. I think that was well written, and there could be some negatives of traffic, but that's the way we're going. Something's going in there. So I'm just kind of rambling, but you've certainly garnered my support for it. That's all I have, Mr. Commissioner.
Thank you, sir. Mr. James, I know you've done your research and you're kind of coming in, well, you're not kind of, you're coming in midstream.
Yeah, I've looked over some of the documentation, and it seems like an exciting project. I do agree with Mr. Shannon about that entrance right there, considering there's already an entrance over by right in front of Chick-fil-A and then one in front of CVS, and like you were saying, those can be choke points at some point, especially given the one in front of CVS, you can't make a left turn, right? So it's going to lead to more traffic flowing out of the other one. So I do agree with that point. I'm no expert in traffic analysis myself, so I can't really say whether or not it's valid. But yeah, overall, I think it's an exciting project.
Mr. Shannon, I do have a question, and I'll be with you in just a minute. In your area of expertise and what you do for a living, would VDOT take that entrance right there into account of their traffic impact analysis, or just simply Washington Street?
I would assume they would have looked at that as well, all entrances and exits. The traffic light warrants a certain amount of traffic, which is what Jeff was talking about. That is certainly a question that I am going to follow up to our traffic survey folks. I'm going to go to the kind of my counterpart with him and talk to him and to make sure that that was considered. I don't know. I don't know that because that is not within the VDOT right of way. I don't believe that.
I believe that our town engineer, Katie McDaniel, did reach out and speak with everyone involved in the traffic impact analysis and at VDOT, and I believe they did look at the interconnected parcel roads here, the ones that we're speaking about, the one here by Chick-fil-A at the front, and then the one at the back. And they did reference that having these in there will help with the overall site traffic flow, and it will alleviate some of the other traffic from the other entrances and exits. But I can get that information from Katie and certainly send it along. But we also still have the site plan
I was
phase
gonna say,
to
site
work
plan
through all
review.
of this.
Yeah,
Yes.
We'll cover that.
and I'll address it. I'll meet with my counterparts there in VDOT too in the other office. I just, I'm not I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, and I understand that. But when I look at that right now on the busy times, I can't imagine more traffic. I just can't.
Right.
But there's a lot smarter than people than me. If they convince me that they take that consideration, then I'll relook my decision. But as of
Right.
right now, I'm adamantly opposed to it.
And we certainly can kind of file this one concern kind of back with, when we come back to the site plans, we can come back to it, address it, one-way, two-way traffic, but kind of for the issue at hand tonight, it wouldn't per se affect the.
Understand, yeah,
So-
you're correct. I got it. Okay.
All right, and sir, if you don't mind just coming up and joining the gentleman up here.
Mr. Wooden?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sorry. Trying to search for names here in my Rolodex. It's not rolling quite as fast as normal. But the only question I have is there seems to be a lot of, I'll choose my words very carefully, in regards to drive-throughs. And you addressed that last time. Can you just go on record for the public who may not be able to come tonight about drive-throughs and kind of the information, plus I think it'd be good for our newest member to hear. I just think it'd be a good recap.
Certainly. Don Wooden with Meladon Group, the applicant. So in regard to the drive-throughs and the, I am not a traffic engineer by no means as well, so obviously our traffic consultants, their data stands, and I think they're very accurate. But I think what's skewing data from yesteryear to current is that our restaurants are changing based upon our consumers' demand or desires. And that simply put is that we want to have more convenience in how we dine. And so what's happening, and I think, you can go back a number of years and it's easy to see some of these uses that have really matured and developed over time, such as Starbucks coffee. So Starbucks coffee would never have had a pickup lane at all, because they wanted the experiential aspect. They call it your third place. They want you to come into their store and spend time. But over time, people have said, look, I want a more convenient way to get my coffee. And so they have answered the consumer. And so now today, they won't even consider a new site unless it has a pickup lane at their location. So they'll typically take an end cap on a building, meaning at the far end, so they can get a pickup lane put in, or a standalone building where they can have a pickup lane for that. Then you can further on down the line and kind of see some of these other uses. We did a very nice Harris Teeter in Cascades, which is kind of Fairfax County, Loudoun County. We were at the last stages of site plan design with them, and they said, we know it's late, but our customers are really asking us to put in a pickup lane for our pharmacy. And, so obviously they're competing with, obviously, the CVS's and all of these other things. So that's happened. And then since then, we hear it from many now. Now we're getting full-service sit-down restaurants such as Panera Bread, such as Famous Dave's, such as, and there's probably a lot of more locals as well, but a lot of the nationals and regionals are saying our guest experience is changing. Barbecue seems to be one where a lot of people don't like to eat it in that restaurant. They would prefer to come and get it and take it back home. And so they want that pickup lane. And the same goes for a Panera Bread. Again, Panera wants you to come in. That's really what they have designed. It's that third place. It's the same as Starbucks. They want you to come in. They want you to spend time. They want you to suck up their internet. But more importantly, suck up their coffee and their food and spend some time. But it's the consumer that, and when I say consumer, I'll just personalize it. It's the residents of Haymarket. It's the residents of Sterling. It's the residents. It's we, the residents, that are wanting that convenience change. So it's really becoming more and more of just an acceptable way. And if you've noticed, I've not said drive-through as much as I've used the word pickup, because it really is changing in that direction, because they have the option. They have the option to go in and dine, but they also have the convenience option of picking up. And that's really just a shift in the way people are dining today. And so is that answering to what you were thinking?
More and more people are ordering online and picking up. That's
Absolutely.
a big thing. It was ironic, as I mentioned, being up there Saturday, just kind of looking at traffic. I looked at the drive-through, and out of about 25 cars, I must have seen 20 of them that had Haymarket stickers on them.
Yep.
I can speak for my wife and I. We go through the drive-through quite a bit, Chick-fil-A.
Well, see, now, once we put in the red brick sidewalk, everybody can walk to Chick-fil-A.
Yeah,
from the east, right?
from the other end, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And I just want to comment to your, so it's something to consider about the pinch points on the Chick-fil-A. Can I just show you?
Yes, sir, please do.
So to your point, VDOT definitely does take into consideration all of these access points. And what they do look at is on this main access drive, they'll look at failures. They'll look at a failure. And so when you start reaching failure on your signalized intersection, then they start looking at these other points of access to make it to where that isn't a failing intersection. So that's what happens. So you need additional access points so your main signalized intersection won't fail. Also, to really help is Route 55 right now, and I forget the street to the east that has the signal. What's that street, cross street? Jefferson?
No, Jefferson.
So from Jefferson all the way down to Route 50, you have no throttling at all, right? So once they hit that signal and it turns green, everybody has full access all the way down to 15. So this signal is really going to help the condition you mentioned, because this could be kind of a dangerous intersection here at Chick-fil-A, trying to get out while people are traveling at what? I don't know what speeds they're
It's
traveling.
25, and I understand where you're going, and But again, I go sit there on a Friday night or Saturday and look at that.
Yeah. No,
I'm not going to call the chief up to ask him to talk about it, but I'm telling you, it is a cluster
no, I agree with
down
you.
there, as it is. So, and I don't know if, a one-way in there to help alleviate, maybe back up from, because you're going to have left turn lanes into there, correct?
Into which
The
one?
lighted section, the lighted road, you'll have a turn lane there?
Yes,
Okay.
right
So-
turn.
Okay. I just, again, I'll talk with my counterparts there in VDOT and,
But my point is if we can time that intersection to where we're halting the traffic going west, this really helps and relieves the opportunity so people can, without, fearing for their life, they can get out, and so this will be a big help, I think.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else for me?
No, sir, that's good.
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I appreciate you reminding the citizens that we are downzoning. I think getting lost in all the personal opinions and innuendos is what could be going on there as opposed to what is. So, for me, it's really the bottom line. I appreciate you doing the proffers. Appreciate you changing the tot lot to shall to will. And I think you've done a great job. And I would support what Mr. Shannon said. I think when we first started this project, I mean, we get out and about a lot and walk this town and run into a lot of people. I think it's telling for the people who have come and spoken, but I think it's even more telling to the people who haven't. And sometimes those are the people we forget about, or the people who don't come. So I appreciate your time. Thank you. All right. We have, I think we've thoroughly reviewed this, and I'm comfortable taking a vote to push it up to the town council.
Mr. Chairman, I have a group of motions here that I'm going to propose.
Okay.
However, I do want to make this statement. I am confident in the current studies that have gone on, to include the schools and what they've done. The ideal that when the study was originally done, they were considering 129 townhouses versus 79. I think they've done their due diligence. I agree the school is overcrowded. I believe it's putting more on the county. The county's aware of that. We have some smart people running this county, and they're aware of that, and they're looking at what they need to do to address the crowding. But the traffic analysis, the impact analysis, I have confidence in VDOT, not only as an employee of VDOT, but just with the work that they do. I think the school study is more of a guesstimate because you don't know in those 79 townhouses how many high school students you're going to have. You don't know how many elementary or middle school. But, so at best it's a guesstimate, but I think they, again, I think they did a good job. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I have 7 motions that I'm going to recommend. So first, I make a motion to forward rezoning application REZ number 2018-004 for the Crossroads Village Center to the Town Council with a recommendation for approval to rezone 9.94 acres from B2 to R2.
All right, do I have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
James,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
Carl.
Yes.
Next, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to forward the special use permit application SUP number 2018-002 for the Crossroads Village Center to the Town Council with a recommendation for approval to permit by special use permit the drive-through restaurant at the western location in accordance with the GDP.
All right, do I have a second?
I second that motion.
All right, any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Next, I make a motion to forward special use permit application SUP number 2018-003 for the Crossroads Village Center to the Town Council with a recommendation for approval to permit by special use permit a drive-through restaurant at the central restaurant location in accordance with the GDP.
All right, any discussion? Or actually, a second, sorry.
I second that.
All right, any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 I make a motion to forward special use permit SUP 2018-004 for the Crossroads Village Center to the Town Council with a recommendation for approval to permit by special use permit a drive-through restaurant at the Eastern Restaurant location in accordance with the GDP.
All right, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to forward special use permit application SUP 2018-005 for the Crossroads Village Center to the Town Council with a recommendation for approval to permit by special use permit a hotel or assisted living facility with a building height over 50 feet and at the location referenced on the GDP.
All right, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, Emily, I do have, as a town planner, I do have one question. So the proposed height is still,
I just saw that, yes. If you could amend your motion to have the 75-foot height restriction, please. I apologize for that.
To building height of 75 feet.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I make a motion to forward special use permit application SUP number 2018-005 for the Crossroads Village Center to the Town Council with a recommendation for approval to permit by special use permit a hotel or assisted living facility with a building height of 75 feet at the location referenced on the GDP.
all right, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, on discussion, so it will be limited to 75 feet or less? Okay. All right, any other discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to forward special use permit application SUP number 2018-006 for the Crossroads Village Center to the Town Council with a recommendation for approval to permit by special use permit an automobile repair service at the location referenced at the GDP.
I second.
All right, any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Mr. Chairman, I make a motion for its special use permit application SUP number 2018-007 for the Crossroads Village Center to the Town Council with a recommendation for approval to permit by special use permit a bank with a drive-through window at the location referenced on the GDP.
All right, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, any discussion? All right, roll call vote, please.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. All right, I appreciate everybody's patience. I know it's been a long process, but I'm convinced that we've come to the right conclusion. Do I have a recommendation for adjournment?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend that we adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
All right, we're not going to discuss this. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.